Over the past several months, metals have been absolutely exploding.
When you think about things like stable coin and other technologies out there are looking for things like gold to back a part of the value of what they're creating. What's exciting about it is it's showing you that the world has woken up to this narrative. The bottom's base core is simple supply-demand dynamics. Unless we put a freeze on AI as data centers and printing of money and taking on more debt, if we stop all that, maybe the supply-demand gets rebalanced.
Ed, it's so nice to see you. How you doing?
Doing well. A little warm, but doing well.
Very hot, but you're the perfect guy to talk to because over the past several months, metals have been absolutely exploding. We talked about this a second ago. Everything from gold to silver to copper has been rising. Why have metals been rising so broadly over the past several months?
Yeah, it's really been the last year and a half where the market is starting to wake up to the realities of what's going on. If you're talking about gold, you're talking about it as a monetary metal. And you look at how much debt we have both here and abroad, how much printing we're doing of currencies. I always say we're not in a gold bull, we're really in a fiat bear market. And so the world's kind of woken up to that reality. And when you think about things like stable coin and other technologies out there that are looking for things like gold to back a part of the value of what they're creating, it's really getting a bigger chair at the table when it comes from a currency standpoint. So I think that really speaks to the gold story. Think about things like silver. Silver, yes, is still a precious metal, but it's really bridging the gap over to the critical material side of the equation. And the world's starting to wake up to that reality as well, that we need more and more silver and it's getting harder to get. And then you go into the critical materials. The two we really like right now is uranium. It's kind of a supply-demand dynamic. As more and more reactors are staying open and new reactors are coming online, the supply-demand dynamics for the feedstock uranium is continuing to grow. We love that story. And then the last one, and there's others, but the last one we really like is copper. None of this happens, including this video, without copper. And so we need more and more of it, and all the ED stuff's been had. So those are really the four metals. I think the world's kind of waking up to that reality and seeing it as a multi-market cycle opportunity.
So is each narrative for each metal different? You talked about gold, that's kind of the debasement trade. You
That's
got
right.
Silver, it's a hybrid. You got copper tied to the electrification of the economy. Are they all different, or are there certain threads that connect all of them, like deglobalization?
Yeah, there are some differences to each one of the stories, but the bottom base core is simple supply-demand dynamics. Each one of these we need more of. Take silver, for example. Silver's had its sixth year in a row where more has been consumed than has been produced. And so that supply-demand dynamic's not going away anytime soon. Unless we put a freeze on AI and data centers and printing of money and taking on more debt. If we stop all that, maybe the supply-demand gets rebalanced, but we don't see that happening anytime soon. And so the core ecosystem is that we need more of all these metals. There's not enough of them. We think the price has to go higher to incentivize CapEx, to incentivize investment. And so that's really the common theme. And then each individual metal, talking about gold, for example, that's a monetary metal. Talking about silver, it's the bridge metal going into the critics. Each one of them has its secondary story of why they're unique right now.
Gotcha. And of course, the age-old question when it comes to investing in these stories, when it comes to metals, is Do you buy the physical? Do you buy the miners? What do you think?
Yeah, so I always tell people if they're new to the investment theme, physical first, right? You think about what are you trying to get? You're trying to get exposure to the space. The miners, the equities themselves, they're stocks, right? They go up, they go down, they have management. You look at it mining, you've got property issues, you've got risk of jurisdiction, nationalization of mines potentially. So that's more of a risk-on allocation. So if you think about the physical market, that's really risk-off diversification. If you think about the equity or mining market, that's more risk-on opportunistic allocation. So you really should think about them sort of as different trades in the market. But I always tell investors that if you're looking at the space right now, start with the physical market first, get comfortable with that. And then as you look to kind of diversify your portfolio within this universe, then you start thinking about the equities.
Gotcha. And Sprott, of course, is synonymous with metals. You got so many metals ETFs out there. Let's talk about specific ETFs. You were even nominated and have won the Best Commodity of the Year award for your SLVR Silver
That's
ETF.
right.
Let's talk about that one, and let's talk about some others that you might want to throw out.
Sure. I think SLVR, our silver ETF, is really exciting. It was exciting to win that award today. But what's exciting about it is it's showing you that the world has woken up to this narrative. They understand that silver is not just gold's little brother or little sister. It really has its own personality. It has its own supply-demand dynamics. It's really stepping out of gold's shadow. Yes, it still will trade a little bit lockstep with what gold's doing directionally, but as silver gets consumed more and more from a tech standpoint, you're seeing that demand start to really have its own driving forces behind it. And you're seeing that on the physical side, and you're also seeing it on the miners themselves. So I think SLVR, silver in general, both on the physical and the equities, is really getting its own personality and really stepping out of gold's shadow. And so I think that's why that's happening, why investors are looking at it, why the performance is happening.
And that's a unique fund, right?
It's very unique.
Pure play silver miners, right?
That's correct. There's not that many of them out there. And so when you look at it from a liquidity standpoint, when you look at it from a quality standpoint, you know, Sprott's got over 4 decades of experience in the mining space, in the metal space. And so if you're going to take a very specific allocation like silver miners, you better be doing it with someone like ourselves who knows what they're doing, has been doing it for a long time, and is part of a bigger ecosystem of all metals type products.
And I love it if you just lastly touch on this one very unique fund you have. It's the Strategic Metals ETF. Tell us about that one.
Sure, that's SETM I think you're talking about. And we like that one because of a lot of advisors. The feedback we got is, we love all the vehicles you have. We love the thematic approach to copper and uranium and rare earths and battery metals and so forth. But I can only have so much room on my balance sheet for so many funds that represent what I want to do. SETM is really unique in that it's a core allocation. About a third of the portfolio is giving you exposure to the creation of energy, which is predominantly uranium for nuclear and silver for solar. Then you've got about a third of the portfolio focused on the movement of energy, which is going to be predominantly copper. And then you have a third in the storage of energy, which is going to be predominantly battery metals and rare earths. So in one-stop shop, SETM gives you the entire ecosystem of critical materials in one fund. For those investors that want to have a more active approach to that, we have a fund called METL, Metal, which is going to be a more active approach to that same ecosystem. So for example, right now that's got more steel in it because we're having a more active conversation, more active allocation in that space. But we like those 2 ETFs right now because it really gives you the totality of that allocation and the totality of that narrative.
Fantastic. SCTM and METL. Everyone should check those out.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Ed, for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.